I have been in Blessed Sacrament 92 years ago. I was born on June the 26th, which happened to fall on a Saturday, and you always baptized the baby the first Sunday. So the next morning they must run me out of here because it got on the record where I was actually baptized on the 27th by Father Blease. School was dominated. You didn't have the 15 and 20 people to a thing. We had one grade for each grade, and if there was 56 in there, that was sister's grade, 56, and you went to that class and that was it. And church wasn't like it was now with Father Blease. Everything was just so, and when you went out, you went put your finest wear. And everybody on Sunday, they had their coats and their suits and their thing. And if you were leaving at leave time, he'd say, Mr. Stephan, Mass is not over. He'd call it right from the altar.
And I was actually here when the old red school building was converted to the current beige school building. And by the time I got here, I believe we had 3 grades at every grade level.
Yeah, the school is similar to that now, so 3 classes per grade level. I would say the most important thing about Blessed Sacrament to me is my family's connection to it. I feel personally connected to it because of my family's connection to it, so I feel responsible to continue to give back to the parish and the school, and I view my job as that is, you know, my opportunity to give back to a community and a school that gave a lot to my family.
Dan getting to be the principal might be my most memorable moment. That and Dad working on the yard crew out here on Friday mornings for 25 years. Very proud of that.
Our family moved to Fort Mitchell after the 37 flood in we lived in Ludlow, and we came to Fort Mitchell. So immediately we joined Blessed Sacrament Church, and it was very nice. And then they built this, and Father Blease was so proud of this. And he would have us as grade school students come over here after this church was finished. I think every year we came, and he would start in the back, and he would explain each of the windows because he was so proud of the windows. Father Blease wanted his children to be able to get across the highway without getting hit by a car. And so they put the underpass in, which was, I think, one of his most memorable things that he did, aside from building this beautiful church. Oh my gosh, this is like my home. I've been here all my life.
You have to keep in mind, I came here in 1935, so I got a lot of roots here. The most impactful thing, I think, was in the summer of 1940. Father Blease and I were in the sacristy there, and we were, after a Mass, and we were talking. Father Blease had a German accent, somewhat, and he said, Stu, where are you going to high school? And I said, I don't know, Father. Frankly, my family is looking into high schools to find one that we can afford. He says, well, where would you like to go? I said, well, I'd like to go to St. Xavier, but I said, there's no way we can afford $110 a year tuition. And he said, don't you worry about that. I'll take care of it. Well, that to me was very important because he obviously paved the way for me to go to 4 years of high school at St. Xavier High School. And I can assure you that attending school at St. Xavier changed my life. One of the pastors told me, he said that was the best investment we ever made. Bill Bertkey and I started the yard work here, and it gradually grew over the years to the point where we had sometimes 7 or 8 people who worked. That makes you feel good, and the young kids should take part in that, and I hope they will in the future.
I don't know how many people know it, but I was raised right here in Fort Mitchell at the orphanage. I was placed over there at age 2, so I was there from age 2 until I graduated from high school. See, before Blessed Sacrament was formed, the people from Fort Mitchell, and Joe probably told you this, went over to the orphanage. It was called St. John's Orphanage Congregation. go from there. In fact, Father Blease, the first pastor here, was also the chaplain at the orphanage. So there's a lot of history in relation. I think that's the reason why I appreciate the parishioners supporting the children's home so much here. I'm real excited and pleased with the number of volunteers we receive. Whenever there's something needed to be done, you're going to find the volunteers coming out the woodwork, and I think it's a real credit to this parish and to the community. I think the other thing that really impresses me about our parish is the leadership we have of this parish. Over the years, not only with Father Dan, but with all the priests we've had here. Blessed Sacrament's been a total part of my life, and also growing up, is also even today, with that relationship is still there. It's really appreciated.
The most amazing thing, I think, in looking at the history, had to do with how it started. There was this great attraction by, 30, 40 families to go to Mass on Sundays at the orphanage. And, out of that commitment to the underprivileged and the needy, those people blended with the orphans, and out of that became this church, and it just grew. You could see the Holy Spirit's hand in it, really, as it moved through the years. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and its reach is great today, not only with the underprivileged like St. Vincent de Paul. I mean, how many people that we do serve on a regular basis, and just the spiritual values that emanated from that. I love the church itself too. It grows on you. The tremendous baldacchino, the niche, the way it was designed seems to me to be heaven sent. See, what I hope for in the next 100 years, I know that there will be people like Father Dan and Father Quill, those who have been pastors here, Monsignor Grosser, etc. They will be for us and behind us. And I also have a great faith that the church will survive in a wonderful kind of way. And my advice to anyone is to link up with the church and be there and to see it operate, because it's a dynamic operation.
My dad was the first full-time maintenance person here at the church back in around 1953. What's most important to me here at the church is my love for God. To keep his house and the church clean for the parish, for him, and also to keep his building up to snuff. I mean, whatever it takes, we will do it. I think my dad would be proud of me. I have a deep love for God here. And that he and my father is the one that keep me here.
I think the most important thing at Blessed Sacrament is just it's a faith-based school, and we're blessed to be able to pray. We can start our day with prayer, end our day with prayer, pray at any time during the day. I think that's what makes the school special.
My most memorable moment here at Blessed Sacrament is probably when I first came. Kathleen Stetler kind of took me under her wing, and she encouraged me, and she listened to me, she prayed for me. She was just always there for me. They are always wanting to do what's best for students. What can we do to make all students successful? For the school, it is all about community. It's a feeling that there's someone that's always going to be there for you, or that you can be there for someone else that needs it. So with that strong foundation, there's only positive things that can happen for the school and for the church.
I was so blessed to be a part of a parish school, because I really felt from the minute I got here, that the parish hugged the school. I was so blessed with all three pastors because each one of them was so different, yet they were all similar in the way that they trusted me to run the school. And they really were all available to me if I needed them for a problem. And that's why this church was so wonderful to me too, because I needed the Lord many times to sort things out for me. One Halloween, I was at my friend's house and she had this skirt with pockets and she used it for some kind of costume. And I looked at her and I said, would I be able to borrow that skirt for school? That skirt has a lot of pockets, and my idea was to put candy in each of the pockets. I would go around and they would pick my pocket, and I just did not realize that this was my claim to fame. I know in the next 100 years, it is just going to be bigger and better and just successful, and I think we're going to have a school with more kids than we've ever had before, because parents are going to realize the value of a Catholic education.
Yeah, Father Quill was the one who had faith in me, and I remember him very vividly telling me, Diana, if you're going to come on as organist, I need one bread, one body in this church, because at that time there were 5 different masses with 5 different musical styles, so he wanted the musical repertoire to be the same. So that was kind of my mission in his early days. The most important thing at this parish was seeing how we could coordinate the school liturgies with the parish liturgies. And Father Dan was really the one who made a big point of making the connection between our students and to the weekend parishes, especially with the liturgy and the music. So that was really the most important part that as a music director that I greatly appreciated. I envision that this will be a very vibrant parish in the next 100 years, and that the young people of this church will keep their faith, and the liturgy will continue to be as strong as always been known, and the wonderful music.
I thought it'd be very nice to return to my home parish because I knew a lot of people. So this church was built when I came here as pastor. It was obviously a very nice church, you know, very visible to the community. And so we had very good people and very friendly people. And I became friends with a lot of them, really. So that made administration a lot easier. One of the objectives of the Second Vatican Council was to create what I call the people of God. The objective to create a sense of community, whatever it might be, just parish functions or communicating with the people, homilies. I remember giving homilies here, and the people seemed to pay attention. And I felt like we were on the same page, and that the church was moving forward. I think Blessed Sacrament is looked upon as a very stable parish, and in the diocese, kind of an example of what can be done if people work together.
I've been at Blessed Sacrament. It'll be 20 years this July 1st. Well, being pastor of Blessed Sacrament gives you a lot to pray about. I look forward to Sunday Mass more than anything. It's just being with the family, if you will. The other thing I really enjoy doing is getting out of this office and go over and let the kids cheer me up in school. They're always a delight. The thing that always strikes me and anybody that's familiar with this parish is I call it the stability, and that families that grow up here tend to stay here. So in our school, we have a lot of children that they're the 4th generation of their family going to school here. parishioners, it's the same thing. We have fourth and fifth generation parishioners whose families have just always been at Blessed Sacrament. And that's a real strength of this parish is that stability and the handing on of the faith from one generation to another. I'm always fond of saying faith is caught, not taught. And I find that I'm inspired in faith by the people that come, especially to daily Mass. So I think faith has changed and deepened. Physically, we've done a lot of improvements here in the parish, and these are all wonderful things that have been accomplished with great generosity from the people in the parish. So once I eventually retire, I anticipate, and this is always subject to the will of my successor, but I anticipate being back here a lot for Masses and various things. The number of priests in our diocese continues to shrink, and retired priests are called upon more and more to fill in, so I suspect I'll get a lot of phone calls from Blessed Sacrament, and I hope so, because I really enjoy the people here and would always enjoy coming back to continue celebrating, especially those Sunday Masses with them. We are heirs to a heritage of faith, and we need to continue that, meaning the youth of the parish need to be strong in their faith so that they continue to pass it on to the generation that comes after them. That's the gift that we've all received here from previous generations, and it's one that now becomes the responsibility of the youth of the parish to continue handing it on.